What's going on, everybody? I will be showing you today the difference between a type error and value error. Now remember, this is very oversimplified, and if you want more information about the topic, there are plenty of resources online as well as plenty of staff that can help you. So first, we're going to begin with type error. Now remember, in Python, an object can be several types. It could be either an integer, a string, a dictionary, a list, a float, and the list just goes on. So this error focuses on, the species of the object. So instead of the actual value of the object, it focuses on whether it's the right type or not. So in this example right here, this command up here is invalid because we are trying to add the string 5 to the integer 10. And Python will tell you it was either expecting, in this scenario, 2 strings or 2 integers. Whenever you're trying to do the arithmetic operation, which is adding, Python will expect 2 of the same types. It won't know what to do if it has 2 different types, so it'll just give you an error. So the following outputs, or the following commands here, are valid, where we have the string 5 plus a string 5, which should give you the string 55, as well as the integer 5 plus the integer 10. These 2 examples have the exact same type, so it's valid. Next, we're going to be talking about the value error. Now, value errors is when the type is probably okay, but the value inside of the type is what's going wrong. So our big example here is the integer function, which has the string hi. And as you can see, the integer function is telling us that the string is totally fine, but it's the value that's inside the string that's wrong. And in this scenario, the value of the string is high when it was expecting an integer. So the following is valid, which is the string 5 and the string 100. But invalid commands would be a string that is a float, that looks like a float, or the string with characters in it. So these 2 are invalid and it would give you a value error because even though the type is correct, the value inside of the string is wrong. And next, I have 2 examples right here inside this little word bank, and we have to decide whether it's a type error or a value error. So you can go ahead and pause the video if you want to make your guesses. I'll give like 2 seconds. That's enough time to pause the video. So first, we're going to be talking about this first example right here. You may not have learned loops yet. That may be later down the weeks, but don't worry, you will learn them soon enough. So basically what this example is trying to do is we have the integer 10, and we're trying to loop over the integer 10 and print out the individual parts. However, for loops, or any kind of loop in general, needs the item or the object to be iterable. And the iterable means that you're able to go through it. The integer type is not iterable. So because we have a problem with the type, this means that we have a type error. Now remember, we're not reaching the value yet. We're just determining whether the type is good enough for us. So in this example, the type isn't good for us because it's not iterable. We can't go through an integer. So that's why we will get a type error. And next up, we have our range function, which has a start, a stop, and a step. So let's take a deep look at this. This will be a value error because all of the arguments right here are all integers, which is what we expect. However, if you look at the last one right here, which is 0, Python's not going to know what to do with a step of 0. That means it would just be an infinite loop because you're not going up anywhere. So despite the type being an integer is correct, the value 0 is what gives us problems because we actually can't take the steps that we need to reach 10. So this would be a value error. And that's all I wanted to discuss. Remember, this is very oversimplified, but if you ever see this on an exam, these are pretty solid examples. Make sure you know why a type error or a value error occurs. And yeah, that's all from me. Good luck out there, guys.